Hey everybody, welcome back to Milwaukee Beer Review. We've got another episode for you. As always, I am Josh.
And I'm Ross.
And today we are kicking off big beer season officially as we prepare for Black Friday and all of the great releases that are coming with a special Bourbon County Stout episode. So I'm calling this the wine series, quote unquote, even though none of these are actually wines. And we'll get to that in just a minute. So Bourbon County Stout, this is a fan favorite, something that we've enjoyed over many years. Goose Island actually makes this beer. Interesting note about Goose Island, they are actually owned by AB InBev, so the home of Budweiser and all that good stuff. Good thing is they still operate completely separately from them. So people can talk about that all day long. People will. All the other beer reviewers will talk about it. I do not care. They make some really, really good beers, and their barrel aging process is second to none. So we're going to dive into a few of those here tonight. So interesting, some additional interesting information about Goose Island. They began as a brew pub all the way back in 1988. So we were 4. Our wives weren't even born. Whatever you want to think about that. But here we are talking about Bourbon County Stout. So BCS actually was first released back in Stop laughing. Back in 1992. It was actually brewed initially in celebration of their 1,000th batch of beer that the brewery put out. They packaged and released this for the public, though, for the first time in 2005, so quite a while after they first kind of experimented with this whole barrel-aged stout process. So 2005 is the first time this came out. Because of the popularity of Bourbon County Stout and really what it's done for the industry in this barrel aging, in this barrel-aged beer market, they actually opened up and expanded their barrel program to a different warehouse on Fulton Street in Chicago back in 2010, and then opened up their newest barrel house in 2014, which is in the west side of Chicago, 130,000 square foot facility. And that's where a lot of this stuff comes out of today. So they've really expanded. Barrel aging is one of their primary components and things that they do. And that's why we all get excited every year when Bourbon County Stout comes out around Black Friday. So this always comes out on Black Friday. Sometimes some of these are really hard to find. Others are a little bit easier. Depends. It's gotten a little bit easier to find, I think, over the last few years. But
at least the base variants. The other variants are a little bit harder to find.
This year, actually, in 2021, my wife actually won the Bcs lottery. So Bcs is a chain of liquor stores in Chicago. She actually won the Bcs lottery. So we're going to get at least one of every single variant coming out from Goose Island in the Bourbon County series. So look for future videos on all of that good stuff.
And you can find the variants around here. I mean, as far as the Milwaukee market goes, I mean, yes, we're doing a Chicago beer, but you can find them at, like, I think Discount will have them, Otto's has them, Total Wine will have some. Honestly, check your local liquor stores. Even some of your mom and pop shops will have them. So you just have to kind of know who to call, know where to look, and you'll find some of the base of the variants here and there throughout.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Discount Liquor in Milwaukee actually still has 2020 base BCS available on sale today.
I was just there yesterday. They definitely had some still available. I mean, it's relatively easy to find at this point.
And that was a great year for BCS too. So if you find that, buy it. It's worth it, and it's not that expensive. So what the heck are we diving into here, Ross?
So we're getting each beer individually. We kind of got like a for lack of a better term, a vertical of their wheat wine or barley wine beers that they have done over the last few years. Not a perfect vertical, we're kind of skipping some years in here, but we're starting off with the 2017 Bourbon County Stout Barley Wine. So you're going to hear this quite a bit. This is not a stout, or it's not a wine, but it's named based on the complexity and the strength. This one comes in at 14.4%. This is shockingly the weakest from an ABV standpoint of the beers we're going to be sampling today.
Yeah, and this 2017 barley wine actually came out of our beer haul from all the way back in February. So we figured this was a good pairing with the next two that we're going to have. So we're going to get this thing in the glass and give it a shot. Pop that thing open. Oh, the barley wine goes right into the BCS glasses.
Nice and dark.
Look at that color. Woof. 2017 Bourbon County Barley Wine in 2021. All right, Ross, let's get a little nose on the 2017 BCS Barley Wine in our fancy Black Friday glasses.
Yes. Oof, sweet.
Yep, I mean, that's what you get from a barley wine,
Yeah.
right? A lot of sweetness on the nose. There's definitely bourbon still there. Yeah, there's bourbon malt character, sweetness. I mean, it smells like a barley wine, essentially.
I get a little caramel, but maybe I'm just mistaking that. But
yeah, there's definitely caramel notes. I get caramel notes for sure on the nose, which I would expect with something like this.
Yeah.
A little bit of vanilla, maybe. Yeah, smells like a solid barley wine. Let's check it out 4 years later. Whoa. Smooth.
Smooth, really sweet.
Full bodied.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's sweet, but it's not like sugary.
No.
You get a good sweetness to it. The caramel I was smelling doesn't come through in taste at all, in my opinion.
It's interesting what I noticed on the bottle. Sorry, not to interrupt you. On the bottle, they actually had the brewmaster sign this. I mean, it's not his actual autograph, but Jared Jankowski from back in 2017. The next two do not have that. There's definitely bourbon there, but it's buried in the sweetness. Like, you don't get a lot of bourbon on the palate, but it's for sure there. It's boozy.
Yeah.
Definitely, though, those traditional barley wine notes, a lot more malt character on this than I think you get in your average barley wine, but I think that's good. It really supports this beer. But definitely the caramely nature to it is there. I think more on the back end of the beer, the way it finishes, the caramel sweetness is there, but very sweet. Some bourbon mixed in. The bourbon's for sure there. And a pretty traditional barley wine.
Yeah, it really is a traditional. I mean, I think it's traditional, but it's more booze forward, I would say, than probably most barley wines. The sweetness is there that you get with the barley wine, but that booze and that bourbon really kind of cuts through it pretty drastically. Not in a bad way, but it's there and it's prominent.
Yeah, some vanilla.
Yeah.
Vanilla there.
I think I've had this. I don't remember.
We've had it.
We have.
We had it last year. I had another bottle of it.
Okay.
Still really, really solid.
Yeah.
They have not made a barley wine, though, at least as part of Bourbon County, the Bourbon County series, since this date. This was the last year they did a barley wine.
Yeah, correct. So, and we'll get into kind of the differences of what we have.
And it's
next.
our last one. Sad. Sad.
And if someone has one and they don't want it,
let us know in the comments. Honestly, from a barley wine perspective, if I'm putting this in Untappd, I'm probably putting this at about a 4 1/4. I think it's just a really solid barrel-aged barley wine. It's really, really, I mean, the malt character to it, I think, bumps it up a little notch for me, too, because I really like that with a barley wine like this. The sweetness is there, the barrel quality's there, and 4 years in the bottle, it's made its way here. So, well done.
I think it's really good. I'm going to go a little bit lower. I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay.
To me, honestly, actually, the malt characteristic is a little off-putting for me from a barley wine standpoint. When I'm drinking a barley wine, I kind of want either that booziness, that sweetness to come through a little bit more. And, I mean, putting it at a 4 and saying it's not there, I mean, it's still really, really well done, really good. It's got a little more sweetness in it.
Yeah. It's good stuff, though.
Yeah.
Well done. And hopefully, for all of you that are looking for this stuff on Black Friday, you'll be able to find... Actually, hold on. Pump the brakes. They're not actually doing anything like this year.
I'm not doing any
So
wheat
check
wines.
out the 2021 releases. You will not get one of these. So check for the 2020 stuff if you can still find it in store. After the barley wine here, up next is the 2019 iteration of their wheat wine. So similar to the barley wine, this is not a stout nor a wine, but it is similar to the barley wine in that very similar grain bill, except wheat is a heavy component in the wheat wine versus what you see from a barley wine. They do call out specifically, Goose Island calls out, these are specifically aged. The wheat wine was aged in Larceny bourbon barrels, so we can call that out here. This one actually comes in with a jump at 15.3%. So I think we're going to get a little bit more wheat character in this, probably a little bit more sweetness to go along with it, which should be very, very interesting after trying the barley wine. So let's get this thing in the glass and give it a shot.
All right, let's get this open.
Have not had the wheat wine since 2019, so I'm excited.
It's already a little bit
lot
much
lighter.
Yeah. Much more amber in color, more caramel in color than the previous one. Definitely not a lot of carbonation on wheat wines or barley wines. That's kind of the characteristic of them.
Looks tasty. All right, Ross, let's get a little nose on the 2019 wheat wine from Goose Island. Ooh.
Much more sweet.
A lot sweeter.
Yeah.
Almost like a... I almost want to say almost like a lemony sweetness, almost like a citrusy sweetness.
A little bit, yeah.
Whoa. For sure. The bourbon's there. I have no idea what the barley wine was aged in. I don't know if it was Larceny, if they've continued that trend since 2017. This is definitely Larceny. I mean, I don't know that I've had Larceny bourbon.
I've never heard of Larceny, to be honest.
I've heard of them, but I don't know that I've ever had it, at least in on its own. Mm-hmm. But it smells really good.
Yeah, definitely a little more sweet. You're getting lemon. I'm actually getting a little apple.
Oh yeah, okay.
But
I can see that.
It's
but
definitely
other than that, though, not a strong bourbon note on the nose.
No.
Very much just kind of the fruit character and the sweetness.
Yeah, whatever fruit we're getting a fruit note in there. Definitely some sweetness. But yeah, that bourbon, it smells more berry than the previous one we just had.
Apple's closer to lemon, actually. Or closer than lemon. That's more in line with what I'm smelling too. All right. Let's give it a shot. Cheers. Ooh.
Smooth. It's actually
really smooth.
Front end, I'm not getting a lot. It's very, very back end with this beer. At least the initial sip.
Yeah, it really comes together in the back end of the beer. Like the front end, you don't get like a heavy bourbon kick. No. I think the bourbon is very subdued in this. But out the back end, that sweetness, kind of more that apple character that you described comes through. And like all the sweetness really kicks towards the back end of it. It's smooth as hell.
It really is. And being at 15.3%, I was expecting a little bit more harshness to this one, which barley wines can tend to be. Barley wines, for as sweet as it can be very harsh.
It's not a barley wine, though.
Good point. That's a fair point. So, it's a very good point, actually. It's really, really smooth. It's weird because it's full flavor, but it's so far back end.
It's unique.
Yeah.
It's very unique. You don't get the malt characters that you got in the barley wine in this. This is a lot more sweetness. Yes. This is a lot more kind of vanilla apple character, but subdued, with a slightly higher ABV. You don't get the malt characters of the barley wine in this. I actually really like it.
I really enjoy this.
Between the two, though, I think because of the malt characters of the barley wine, I like the barley wine a little bit more.
Okay.
I would probably put this at a 4 in Untappd. This is really solid. If you can still find this, it's worth checking out if you can find it somewhere. Very, very good, though. I think I still have one bottle left in the cellar, which will keep aging for a bit.
I might have one of these. I can't remember. I have a lot of random BCS. I just don't remember exactly what it is.
That's good, though.
Yeah. The funny thing is I'm actually going to, for the reasons you like the barley wine more than this one, I'm going to flip it. And the reasons why I like this one more than the barley wine is because it lacks that malt characteristic.
Sure. Okay.
And I got this at 4 1/4. It has that nice sweetness to it. I know it's in a barley wine, but the closest.
Do you?
I don't care. Barley wines, I know it's called a wheat wine. It's a barley wine. I don't care. It's not. But I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna put it.
Which one is it?
I don't care.
Let the audience know. All right, no, go ahead. Continue.
I'm
Sorry.
gonna put it within that category though, and I like the sweetness that comes out of this. I like the fact that it have a lot of malty flavor to it. The bourbon's there, but it's subtle and it's a good flavor. It's really smooth.
It's good.
15.3%.
Yeah.
This is. I think we've used this a lot. Dangerously smooth.
The great thing about this too is like a lot of the beers in this category, like when you start getting into like kind of these crazy adjuncts and you look at like where some of these beers go.
Yeah.
This is not a dessert beer either. This is
is
very standard drink ale, but heavy and high ABV. So really, really solid. They did a good job with this.
Yeah.
All right. Which sets us up for, I think, what we're most looking forward to.
So this is the 2020 Bourbon County Stout Caramella. Caramella. This is a wheat wine ale. So again, not a stout, not a barley wine, or not a wine. So this is aged in Larson bourbon barrels once again. This one, though, has characteristics of apple, cinnamon, caramel flavor added to it after the aging process. And it comes in at 14.6%. When the release of last year, from what we've had, we both had this. And
We've both had it.
Not to spoil what we're about to do, but I think this is one we were really looking forward to do with this one. This was so good.
It's been probably since last Christmas since I've had one of these, and I have a couple more left in the cellar, but this was really solid last time we had it. This is really taking the wheat wine from 2019 and adding, all those apple characters you talked about. It's adding cinnamon to that. It's taking what's in this wheat wine and making it into kind of an apple pie style beer. So we're going to get this thing cracked open and see what it's like a year later.
All right, let's crack this open. I'm expecting similar to the wheat wine we just had in color and everything. Yeah,
it looks very close.
Yeah, okay, not a lot of carbonation, which I think is a characteristic of the barley/wheat wine style.
2020 Caramella. All right, Ross, let's get a little nose on the Caramella. Mother of God.
That caramel, that apple just comes out immediately when you smell that.
It's such a unique beer.
Yeah.
Like, I've had like different apple pie drinks in the past, and this smells like pretty much all of them, but cleaner. if you can say that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's not in a giant Tupperware bin.
That's true. Truth. Yeah, there's definitely caramel. There's apple. The sweetness of the wheat wine is there. A little bit of bourbon character from the Larson barrels is there. I mean, it's all there. It's all so well blended too.
Like we talked on the previous one, you got a little bit of that apple smell. This is like that on steroids with a little bit of caramel mixed in and everything. I mean, it's just
like I said, it's taking what the wheat wine nose was and really kind of just elevating all the best characteristics of it.
Well,
let's give it a shot.
Well.
Cheers. Oh my God.
It's so good. It's so good. One thing this does well, and I think we've said this on the show several times, I'm not a big fan when they put cinnamon in beer. This does it so well, though. It's nice and subtle, and it doesn't add like a spice to the beer. It just adds a nice flavor profile to this, which is it's just so well done. It mixes in with that apple and that caramel very, very well.
It's a contributing factor, right? It's not the star of the show. It's just kind of there, and it makes this into exactly what you want it to be, which is apple pie with a crap ton of alcohol in it. I mean,
you don't taste.
You don't taste it at all.
You really don't get like the bourbon notes. You get a little bit on the nose and everything, but you don't get a ton of like bourbon at all in this. This, I think, is much more like, I don't want to call this a dessert beer.
It kind of is.
It kind of is, but
this is a busted out on a holiday.
Yeah.
Busted out as a dessert after dinner.
Something to share with friends.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely have to share this with friends. If you don't share it and you bust it out and you don't share it, I mean, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So you've got to make sure you're doing that.
It's too good not to. So, No, it just hits all the notes it's supposed to talk about. And one thing I think we've talked about a few times is we get beers that say, oh, it's going to have this flavor, this flavor. And, like, sometimes one flavor just overpowers everything else. And this hits it on every single level throughout the beer. And it's just so well done.
We've tried a lot of the different variants from the 2020 release of BCS. There was some good stuff last year. I think this was the shining star, though, of the variants. The base BCS from 2020 was really solid. Review coming soon. But this was kind of a star of the show. Like, unexpected. The Wheatwine didn't get, like, grand reviews. You know, the 2019, I think it's really good. But this was definitely a star of show from 2020. And it still hits the mark a year later. So, really, really good.
Now, one thing BCS does in every single bottle, on this little tab right here, it does state that it can age up to 5 years. This is one I don't think needs to be aged, personally.
Not at all.
I think the stouts, especially the heavy barrel stouts and everything that Goose Island releases, those can be aged. Give it 5 years, give it however many years you want. These, though, if you have them, I don't think they're going to need to be aged. From what I remember from tasting this before, from day of, I think about 6-7 months ago I had it, and now, the flavor characteristics haven't really evolved all that much. It's exactly what I remember drinking, and it's not a bad thing. I don't think it's going to get any worse.
I think the only thing that's changed with it, maybe, in my opinion, is the cinnamon character has dropped off a little bit. I think the cinnamon notes on this are a little bit less than what it was fresh last year, but that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing.
For you and I think that's a good thing.
It's a good thing. So this is really, really solid. Honestly, I'm putting this at a 4.5 in Untappd, easy. Like, this is just really, really good, solid, and rare as heck. I don't know if they'll make this again. I hope they do, they should. So, Goose Island, I don't know if you care what we say. You probably don't, but make it again because it's solid.
I'm right there with you with the 4.5. I think it's really, really good. It doesn't have enough to get above that 4.5. But 4.5, I mean, we don't give a lot of 4.5s out.
We don't.
This is a great beer. If you have this, I would love to hear anyone's opinion on it as well, because we've talked about this. We've had it with other friends, and everyone seems to really like this beer. It's fantastic. So if you have it in your cellar, please break it out. Let us know what you think of it. I think it'd be really interesting to get other
and share it with your friends because it's worth sharing. It's universally loved. So really, really good stuff from Goose Island. We've got a lot more coming, including all that good stuff we're getting from Binny's this year, all the stuff we have in our cellars. We'll be bringing all that to the channel as well. So a lot more coming in the Bourbon County Stout category. Check us out on the rest of our social media channels. We're obviously here on YouTube, but we're also on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We are on Twitter. We are on Untappd. So look for these reviews there. Check us out on any of those social media platforms. Also, like, comment, subscribe here on YouTube. This is our primary place where we're posting content. We're doing that weekly at this point, sometimes a couple times a week. We've got lots of great content coming here around the holidays, and it is stout season. Everyone is releasing solid beers right now, so we've got a lot of content coming as we continue through the next several months. So looking forward to it. Thanks for checking out the channel, and we'll see you in a future episode.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye. Okay. Ready? In 3. Hold on, let me get the numbers right. 3. Actually, I probably shouldn't do that. 3, 2, and Goose Island. Welcome to the island of the goose.
That's not a thing.
All right, so there's a lot.